So we have some shocking breaking cruise news for today's video, and it's in regards to a topic that I personally did not think I'd ever be discussing again here on this channel, at least on this scale. So confirmed reports are surfacing that a COVID outbreak has taken place on board a Royal Caribbean ship, and the vast majority of the cases on board is believed to be amongst the crew due to a recent policy change, potentially that is. Now before I go into the details that are available, I do want to preface this video by saying that I'm not trying to alarm or scare anybody. I believe that Royal Caribbean has this situation under control, and I don't think that they are at fault for this situation. Now, all of this is taking place on board Royal Caribbean's Mariner of the Seas. This ship is currently completing sailings out of Port Canaveral, Florida, and is on a sailing right now. The sailing is a 5-day sailing that started on October 3rd out of Port Canaveral, and the occupants on board visited places like Lebedi and Royal Caribbean's private island over in the Bahamas, Perfect Day at Coco Cay. An announcement was made on Thursday, October 6th to all of the passengers on board that there was a COVID outbreak on board. The captain confirmed this, and they said that they had people in quarantine. Unfortunately, we are learning now that the quarantine area on deck 2 is completely full. At this point, just to be cautious, the captain on board Mariner of the Seas has asked all the passengers to be careful when it comes to wandering around the ship. Wear their mask if needed, and don't go too close, social distance, all of that stuff that we've been seeing throughout the entire pandemic. Now, what's interesting to me when it comes to this situation, if you guys didn't know, Royal Caribbean was really the last remaining mainstream cruise line that had all of their crew still wearing masks and implementing the masking policy on board for all of its crew. So this sailing on board Mariner of the Seas was the first sailing that this particular set of crew members on this ship had where they were no longer wearing masks. And 3 days later, we have this situation taking place. Now, I want to be clear, this is not fleet-wide that they're having this situation. It is all on board Mariner of the Seas, and the policy changing it as far as the masking has not been implemented or changed on any other Royal Caribbean ship. The captain on board has also not confirmed the amount of cases or the percentage. They just simply said that it was a lot. And I have my friends over with Sickly Media, my friend Cindy. I met her over on board Wonder of the Seas. She's currently on board now, completing the cruise today, heading back to Port Canaveral. She said she talked to some of the crew, and well, they have contingency plans similar to that of what we saw during the pandemic. We know that the quarantine area on deck 2 is completely full, like I said. So if there is an overflow of people with COVID cases, what they'll do is put them in a quarantine hotel, probably somewhere over in Port Canaveral. We saw earlier this year, whenever there was an overflow of cases between this year and last year and throughout the entire pandemic, Royal Caribbean resorted to doing things like having quarantine ships in which they would meet over off the coast of Coco Cay, their private island over in the Bahamas, and they would transfer crew members that tested positive for COVID from one ship, like let's say this ship in particular, Mariner of the Seas, to Jewel of the Seas, where they would ride out their quarantine, and when they tested negative, they would then be put back to their regular ship that they were working on. Now also do keep in mind that every single crew member for Royal Caribbean is vaccinated and boosted. So if there are cases on board, regardless of the amount, it is probably asymptomatic, so more than likely it's nothing to worry about. But I guess as this story develops, maybe we'll get more information and we'll see what actually took place. There could be a situation where we are seeing false positive. We already know throughout this pandemic that that is a real possibility. There could be other factors that play, like the masking, and since they took them off, maybe there is more exposure. Somebody had COVID and it spread to one person, then another, then another. Who knows at this point? But I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. And like I said, I do not personally believe this is a reason to be alarmed. When it comes to the masking, most of you know that I've been pretty much saying for the past year or so, I do not believe that if all the passengers have to, or have the privilege rather, to take the mask off, why shouldn't the crew? I do believe that being able to see everybody's smiling faces is extremely important. It's also interesting that, like I said, since Royal Caribbean is one of the last big cruise lines out there to remove the masking policies for its crew member, why is this happening all of a sudden? Because I have been on Carnival ships, I have been on Royal Caribbean ships for this year alone, and I've also been on Virgin ships, I've been on NCL ships. All of them have not implemented the masking policy, or they have not capped it rather, and we haven't seen situations like this take place on board. So I do want to know, it's a big head scratcher. Why do you think the reason is that we're now seeing this on this particular ship? Let me know in the comment section below. Either way, that's all we got, guys. If there is an update as far as maybe things getting worse, or maybe there's some more interesting details that I think all of you might want to hear about, I will put out an update video and I'll let you guys know what's going on. Of course, like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Very interesting topic for today's video. video, hit that like button on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and just know that I love each and every one of you. I'll see all of you later. Take it easy.